I'd rather die than not realize my dream as an entrepreneur. It's hard for most people to understand that, but I've always been this way, and maybe you are too. We finished the entrepreneur experience is finished. It's the Red Pill Pathway, the More Money Now approach, as well as the virtual metaverse campus. It's taken about a year, and I started when I was 5. Really, now I can connect the dots back to then. If I look at the idea of me and my Chinese nickname, it would be clearly difficulty at the beginning. And my life, I would not say has been an unhappy one, but it has been a difficult one. But I want that. That's what I want. I run into burning buildings and I jump in the deep end of the icy pool without having checked the temperature. And I've been this way my whole life. And this skill leads to entrepreneur success and success as a business developer because that's what it takes. Not everyone should do this. And this is why I say, don't be like me, be like you. Don't copy me. Don't be like me. I'm not just another guru out here looking for a way to extract money out of the financial ecosystem or get people to follow me because I have an inner insecurity that I've never dealt with as a kid or whatever it is. This is what's going on social media. And I'm going to talk about this in the context of two sides, the Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson, Alex Hormozi side, and then the other side, which is not about following, it's about connecting. And I'm going to give you an example of an individual who I think has really demonstrated this fully into the society in a way that is connecting and uplifting and elevating, unlike the other three who are not. They're doing the opposite. And it doesn't matter what their intent is, it matters on what the impact is. I learned this years ago when I was 17 years old, and I started going to AA meetings 17 to 24, and we were taught about amends. And you had to make amends if you had an impact on other people. It didn't matter what you meant or what your intention was. It wasn't relevant. It was the impact that was relevant. And these three individuals are making a negative impact on the entrepreneur ecosystem right now that's very severe and significant. That's why I'm talking about them. I'm not against them. I'm against the impact. I'm not even against the impact. I want to call out the impact so you can decide whether to follow somebody, some guru that thinks they know better for you, or who's there just to get money, or is just there to get reinforced in some way because they lack something in themselves that they haven't worked through yet. They still need to be rewarded. They still need to be important. They still need to be relevant. This happens all the time with successful people. They want to remain relevant. What's my next act? But their next act is more of the same, which is worship me, love me, and follow me. This is a problem, and I can explain why in a minute. So the idea of the power of the entrepreneur is at the core of what I'm doing with the entrepreneur experience. And what I'm offering is no sales calls, no marketing funnels, no upsells, cross sells, sideways sells, none of it. No persuasion psychology, no marketing. We don't need any of that. You don't either. That comes from fear, a fear of not succeeding, or fear of not being important, or a fear of not being on the big stage. The problem's the stage. The stage has got to go away. Isn't it time for the stage to go away? And I'm going to explain the problem with the stage and the danger of the stage, meaning the guru up on stage with their big energy. This is what we love. We love the big energy. The Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson, Alex. Okay, all right, we're here. Blah, blah, blah. Who gives a shit? It's not useful anymore. It's a placebo effect for many people. And I'm going to explain how that works. And then I'll stand for 10 minutes and get into the real deeper explanation. For those of you who are resonating, this is a key word, with what I'm saying, because this sounds like you are seeing this too. This is just what I noticed, where I'm paying attention to the economy because I care about our future. And so does this other guy who I'm going to talk about in a minute. So why does this matter? What is going on? Why are we here? What's the point of all of this? It's very, very simple for me. The point is for the world to come together. That's it. That's it. My job is to help the world come together in some unique way. That's it. That's all I have to do. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot because I got to figure out how. And the pain of the journey is to step outside the matrix. What's the matrix? It's to look at a guru, to look at a leader, to look at the structure of the society, the belief systems, which are just opinions, and support that instead of my own inner directed purpose. That's in conflict. This is what's going on. You can't have it both ways. If you want to be an original entrepreneur, you got to be an original entrepreneur. You got to jump in. There's no other way. Now, having said that, how many ways are there to do it? There's as many ways as there are individuals. That's the whole point. And this is why Tony Robbins in particular right now and Russell Brunson are so dangerous, because that's not what they're teaching. They're teaching the opposite. They're teaching, we have the answer. You get to be like us if you're around us, and we'll give you access and limit it depending on how important you are and how much money you have. Why don't we just understand that that's wrong? Because we're used to it. So the fish in the fishbowl can't see what's going on in the fishbowl. And I bought into this stuff too. I didn't most of my life, though. It was in the pandemic year, 2020, where I bought into this idea of I have to get to the top of social media mountain and get famous so I can have security of income, because my entrepreneur business was crushing me. That I'd started a lead generation sales outsourcing company. And I'm like, I got to do a different kind of company because I'm just, so here's the thing about this is that the inner purpose for some of us must be realized in this life at a very deep level. And there's a reason. And it's because you just feel it. You have to. It comes from inside. This is the red pill pathway journey. It's not my journey. It's the journey for someone who's called to this adventure. Not everyone is or needs to go on this. So don't copy me. Be yourself. Find yourself. There's certain principles, however, about how this works. And one is don't copy anybody. Don't follow anybody as your guru because they know. And it's not about their energy. That's the biggest issue right now with these big staged rooms with this powerful energy, the Grant Cardone 10X room with the energy and the energy. It's almost like somebody plugs it in just to get as much money out of the room as possible. And then what happens on Monday? You're kind of screwed on Monday because now you're back in yourself, but without the tools that will unlock that deeper inner purpose and connect you, that inner purpose, connecting you, not me, not Tony, not Alex, none of them, you as an entrepreneur, as an original, or a coach or a service provider that's not necessarily an entrepreneur in your makeup. You don't want to jump in the deep end of the pool. If you're a coach, you just want to help people. If you're a service provider, you just want decent clients so you can do the thing you like, you love doing, that you're good at. That's it. Unlocking that is what matters. So it starts with this, and I'm going to give you a sort of a pathway in this in a minute, but this inner purpose unlocks through finding your product. They skip this part. They go right to what they think everyone needs to do. And I'm going to give you a concrete example of that right now based on some ads that are out in the market from Tony Robbins. The second thing is the connect. So how do you connect with people? You open that energetic channel based on giving them access to you're connecting because you want to do it. It resonates with you, what you're connecting into, because you've uncovered something about yourself that is important. You're getting outside the matrix now of what everyone does. Mediocrity is copying other people like Tony to be like Tony. And that's what he wants. That's what he's selling. Be like me. Know what I know and you'll be free. That's not true. It's just not true. It's the opposite. Know what I know and you won't be free. You'll just know what I know, but you won't. How could you? You're not inside me. You're inside you. But there's principles that always work. And I'm going to explain in the context of this guy who's really succeeded, and most of us know him. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk. And I was like, I thought at first he was another one of them, and he's not. And I can see it. I'm going to explain how I can see it and why he matters so much right now. Because he's doing the real work, which is bringing the society together based on knowing your purpose. He knows his purpose. He knows how to connect in a way that works for him. I could never do what he does. I don't want to. I don't want to run around and be a celebrity. I don't want to be known, frankly. I want to be behind the scenes more, but I want to bring my thoughts out into the world because I have original thoughts and I can organize them now and help explain things to myself and other people around this entrepreneur experience, elevation to create a better experience for yourself concept. I can do that. I'm good at it. I know how to do it. I've been working on it for years now. And he's got his version of that. It's him. It comes from him and his stories with his dad in the wine shop and figuring out social media before it was a trash can. He got there early and he figured it out. And now he's teaching people not to market. He's teaching people to be visible. I call it the Kevin Costner approach, which is build your field of dreams, create it from inside. It's not going to be a baseball diamond like Kevin Costner's. Mine's not a baseball diamond. It's a video metaverse campus with a bunch of pathways and groups and people that matter who co-founded it with me really by total accident during a pilot group. So Gary's out running around making people feel a sense of connection with themselves. And he pushes right back. He's like, no, you figure this out. You figure this out. Here's how it works though. Here's what I know. Well, he knows what he knows. That's all he's talking about, what he knows himself. He's not saying there's no film between him and in the world. That's the point. And he knows who his people are. That's important too. You've got to know who your people are. So you connect. How do you get to this? You ask. Who are you asking? First yourself. Who are my people? I didn't know. But I knew there was a lot of joy and a lot of pain in being me. And I'm a pioneer in a world that rejects innovation. People can say they say whatever you want about change and innovation and improvements and bringing the world together. But the mass consciousness is the opposite of this. The mass consciousness is don't say anything that makes me too uncomfortable. Don't challenge my beliefs. Who does that? Artists, the comedians, the painters, the writers, the songwriters, the movie makers, the real ones, not the exploitative, how to make a buck in the market type, the suits from the studios, but the real artists do this. Well, we can too. And I think that's part of the what I want to bring into the world is show me as just an ordinary kind of low key guy without the big energy, but more of a truth connection to help people find themselves through that, but not mine, but yours, whatever that is, and get there yourself within the context and power of the group. And that's why we're offering this guest pass. So this is and there's more. It's not, I'm not selling anything here. You can pay me though later. So yeah, I got a business. So claim your guest pass for the Entrepreneur Experience Video Metaverse Campus. And I've got the link, redpillpathway.com/events, and come once. And if it's a bad fit, you probably won't get the extended guest pass or want it. We won't want to give it to you. But if it's a potentially good fit, in other words, it resonates, hang out with us for 5 days. I don't do sales calls or funnels. Just hang out with us for 5 days. There's a lot in it. I can't explain it to you because I don't know you, and the experience you're going to have is yours, not mine. So the joy and pain of being a pioneer is the joy and pain of anyone who's trying to do something different. The entrepreneur is like an artist. Warren Buffett's an artist. He talks about it. He's like, I'm a painter with 10K reports. I've said this a million times. I really believe that this is true because the world rejected him and Charlie's approach to investing. They still do. And when Charlie died at 99, one of his best quotes for me is, Wall Street has too much power. No kidding. No kidding. Well, what are you doing about it? So if you're an entrepreneur and you see something in the world and you're like, I want a better way to do that, Go. It's not easy though. So it starts as a thought or noticing. That's where the gold is. That's the purpose. It's in there. That's going to teach you and it's going to elevate you. And if you go down that road and you don't listen and follow these gurus and you follow your own voice, your inner voice, that is what will get you towards connecting into the market in a way where you'll find your people, because you're becoming yourself as you do it. You don't take a course on how to become yourself. People sell this crap. You become yourself by doing it in motion and action. And in doing that, there's friction and pain. And that's the issue, is how do you reduce the friction and pain? Well, what they'll do, like Tony Robbins has got one right now for small business owners, and it's such bullshit. And it's this thing about working on or in your business. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you selling this, Tony? You got an airplane. Like, why? I don't understand. I see the film in front of him and I see the attractive character constructed through his relationship with Russell Brunson to market himself in a funnel. And the persuasion psychology, I see it because I feel it. And I know what they're doing because I tried it all. I did it myself and I studied all that stuff for years. And what I see from this is a misunderstanding, because I've owned a bunch of businesses, and does Tony even know how it works? He's got a massive enterprise, and he's a big personality on stage. Does he understand the grind of year after year after year of being at $1 million a year or 30 grand a month, or these things that I've dealt with my whole life? And in terms of working on or in the business, I wrote a book in 2018 called No Way Back, which I wouldn't recommend anybody read because I don't really subscribe to it anymore, but it was pretty good. And it was about how to construct a virtual company and start to give up the reins to other people, which I did. So I not only worked on the business instead of in the business, but I eventually extricated myself from the business for passive income. I don't recommend that to people because it depends who you are. What if you love doing the work? Why would you work on the business and not in the business? You construct the business so you can work in the business. That's the point, Ben. So that's the problem with people who don't know what they're doing and teaching things they don't really fully understand because they haven't had enough experience in the trenches, but they figured out a marketing way to use their popularity and their audience. And this is what Russell Brunson teaches, is when you have a funnel and an audience, you always have a company, because you can figure out what the pain point of the audience is and market to them, and they'll buy your stuff because they want your energy. That's really what it is. So Tony Robbins makes people feel better. Russell Brunson gives people confidence. And Alex Hormozi gives them knowledge to chase things that you shouldn't chase. You don't chase money and hoard wealth. It doesn't work. That's not how the principles of life are. You engage inner prosperity through inner purpose. He never talks about that. He talks about how to get somewhere. There's nowhere to get. It's a myth. So you listen to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. He may someday. I think he's the next. He could be the next Charlie Munger if he wakes up and stops doing what he's doing. How do you do it? He hired a video marketing company, and he'll say that too. He'll say that it's marketing. What gets people there is marketing. So you share your experience. Who are you then? This is for special people. Is all of us, but anyone can be a special person. That's the road less traveled. The life of quiet desperation through needing. Don't think these people are not living lives of quiet desperation in the small wee hours of the morning. They are. I can see it. I don't know them, but I feel it, because they wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they didn't. They'd be like a Gary Vaynerchuk. So what is he doing? He's giving his gift into the world. How do you know the difference? How do you know what's real in this AI bot world of beliefs? And where did this world come from, where anyone who had an opinion could build a following through marketing and people would worship them like a false prophet? It's ridiculous. And it's harmful to the society because it's robbing people of the work of saying, what do I want? Who am I? Where do I want to go myself? What am I here to do? And go after that as an individual. We're robbing people of the right to, of not the right, but the responsibility. We're taking the responsibility away and saying, just follow me. I know. That's ridiculous. It's just not true, is what it is. But it works when you define work as getting money. If work is getting money, or work is reinforcing your feeling of I need to be important or relevant, or I mean, Alex looks in the mirror all the time. What the hell? Selfies. Like, what is that about? I don't know. There's something going on though. I can see that. So those projections from him out into the world trap other people who are also projecting from their limited self. Their fear is what it is. They're both in fear. So they're projecting from fear. It doesn't look that way. What you see is confidence, but it's a confidence that can be poked with a little pin, and it deflates. But it takes a lot to deflate something that's overly inflated. That's the problem. When that energy is so overly inflated, you can't deflate it. They have to. And they have to have a crisis to deflate it, a health crisis, existential crisis, economic crisis, something. The way you deflate it, the way I deflate it it's a very simple strategy. It's called the opt out. In marketing, they have opt out, opt in, opt out or opt in. So I don't really need to opt out or opt in because I'm paying attention to myself and my self-awareness, and I'm paying attention to what resonates with me. And the reason I'm talking about these people now is because of this guy here named Ray Bradbury. And I wasn't necessarily afraid to say these things. It was more I wondered, am I just going to be another asshole? And I know I'm not, but I felt like other people will think I am. And I'm not afraid of the criticism or the rejection. It's more, am I bringing people together when people perceive me as attacking people? Because some do. They're like, oh, you're just jealous. No, I'm really not. But Ray he taught me in this book, Zen and the Art of Writing. It's not just writing, it's communicating. And he says, it's very simple. He said, speak of what you care about the most, whether you love it or hate it, and everything else, ignore. And I thought, that's it. I was in a writing seminar and it wasn't working for me because it was about structuring content. And I'm terrible at that. But I ran to the Half Price Books afterwards and I'm like, I got to figure this out because I can't express what I'm trying to express. And I feel frustrated and forcing it. And I didn't want to do that. So I found Ray Bradbury and I'm like, oh, he's got to know. I mean, that guy's a real writer. He's a real creative. He's an artist. And he told the society the truth about itself. So I like that a lot. And he stepped outside the matrix fully and looked back at the society and said, I'm going to say what I need to say because this is what I'm here to do. I'm going to talk about that next. Not how to figure out, but the 5 pieces of here to do stuff. And then a bit of on the pathway to get to that. And a lot of that's on our content pages. But I'm going to talk about a little bit. But in Zen and the Art of Writing, it gave me not courage. I already had the courage, but it gave me a pathway of how to think about it. Isn't it funny how simple these things are? So the how to write stuff didn't need that. I've done a ton of it, but I didn't really need it. What I needed was the structural understanding of communications as expressed in the form of language and writing. And that I got, and not just from Ray, but from a lot of people. And you know who? Russell Brunson taught me a lot of it. I don't do anything he says. And I have my 30-day, I'll read this one time. It's hilarious. But I went through the 30-day One Funnel Away challenge in the summer of 2020. And then I got all excited about it. And I started telling people about it. And I could have ruined their lives if they'd followed it because they were making big, risky decisions. And if I said, I was telling people, I found this way out. It's Russell Brunson. And it's this funnel thing. And everyone else had heard of it. And I hadn't. I'm getting all excited. And he's on stage. Oh, that's funnel hack. Listen, and this guy, Steve. And he's all amped up. And I get through this thing, and I've done a lot of that business and new business development. And they had some advice about calling corporate executives with an idea and bounce the idea off of them to learn more about your market. And I'm like, you know how hard it is to get a corporate executive on the phone? I've been doing it since I was in my 20s. It's hard. They didn't say that. They didn't talk about the life of a corporate executive and who they'll take calls from and how to get them on the phone. I know how to do that. I've been doing it my whole life. So I was like, oh, this is bullshit. But the principles that he's teaching, if you take all the marketing stuff out and reverse it all, so instead of attractive character, be yourself. Instead of the Epiphany Bridge story, your hero journey that is your life story, and the snippets from that and expressing that in public, despite any feelings of queasiness or cringiness yourself around it, and just doing it. And this is what he's teaching, but he's got all the marketing glaze on it, which is what screws it all up. So I was looking at some stuff I wrote. So Gary Vee's the opposite of this, which is what's cool about him. It's hard to do it though on an ad network, isn't it? So, the trash cans of Google and Facebook ad networks, where basically an ad network is they take your data and your content for free. So you're the product, and then they monetize through advertiser marketer relationships. So they're fully embedded with the marketers. That's the problem with those systems, but we got to use them because, they're there. So I wrote down, so I have a process. It's called More Money Now, which is kind of a joke because it's about getting money, but it's really about prosperity and being in the market as you are, and discovering your purpose in the marketplace through action and motion, which is what I've been doing my whole life until I started trying 5-step methods from dumbass gurus, which screwed me up. So the first one here, I'm going to read mine. And then I'm going to take 10 minutes and explain some of the underpinnings of thinking underneath what I'm talking about. So the first one is product. So what's your product? Start with your product. So I call it purpose. And everyone's got a different one. It's different. And that's the work, is figuring it out. So I was like, what is my purpose here? In other words, what's my product? Who's it for? Why does it matter? I wrote, you're going to get clarity on yourself and business direction, what you will and won't do to get what you want. You're going to know what you will and what you won't do to get what you want. And you're going to get clarity on yourself and your business direction. I didn't get that from the One Funnel Away challenge. Okay. The next part is attraction. And this is connect. So how do you connect in the marketplace? Well, learning how to, the 5 steps of success on Facebook, or how to create your what is it called? Authentic presence in the market on social media is all bullshit. So instead, it's about connect from the heart. This is what Gary's doing. You connect from the heart. You have to open your heart to do it though. And I don't see an open heart with Tony, I'm afraid. He thinks he's got it though, but I don't see it. So he doesn't resonate with me. Maybe I'm wrong. He doesn't resonate with me. I'm not judging him. I'm sharing my experience of him. Adopt an experimental and adventurous approach to business development in a safe space where you can be honest about limits. That's what I created. The Entrepreneur Experience Metaverse Campus is that place because that's what I wanted. I didn't want people telling me what to do or giving me advice when I said things that were confusing. I wanted to be able to work through the confusion in a group, but not be told what to do. So that's 2. And you do it in the market too. Connect, and then you go retreat into your group and say, oh my God, that sucked. Why did it suck? And you figure out why, and you go back out again. You come back, you go, I always had to do it by myself. Third is the interconnected light or interconnected heart going out into the world. I call this ask, which is a little strange with More Money Now, but I'll explain it. So what am I doing? I'm helping people get time, space, and patience to find your identity without opinions, beliefs, and convictions of others being in the way. So I'm removing the guru bullshit from the entire community and campus because it doesn't work and it's annoying. So what happens with getting time, space, and patience is asking in the market, where you start to figure out who resonates with you as you're connecting and what they think. Not what they think so you can sell to their pain, but what resonates with them. So that's ask. And then the 4th step I call schmooze, And that's about unity. So this is what is important. Why are we here? Why live at all? To help bring the world together. That's why. Separation is the problem. The illusion of separation, the illusion of our self-interest getting us stuff like, now I have enough money, so I feel safe and secure. So what? What did you do to bring people together? That's what matters. And not as their leader guru, but part of them, not as the elevated one on stage extracting the money up so you can have an airplane. Warren Buffett has an airplane. I don't begrudge anybody their airplane. It's the way that psychologically works as the guru, where people are like, oh, I want that so I can feel secure. That's the problem. So I wrote, build a better world together. This is what I care about. Is I want to build a better world together for entrepreneurs because it's painful, through experiencing the feeling of prosperity rather than chase money or hoard wealth, getting to real security, not fake security from having money, freedom and happiness, not freedom and happiness from having followers that reward your ego, that you can't get by forcing life to work the way you want. You can't push the boulders up the hill like Alex Hormozi teaches and get life to work the way you want to get this inner state of unity or this inner state of prosperity. It doesn't work like that. All right, I'm 1 minute over, so I'm going quick. And I'm going to stay on for 10 minutes. So life's work is the last one, and I call that next. So what's next for us? So in Schmooze, stage 4, building the better world together. This is my version. You'll have your own version. You don't have this version. This is mine. It's about shared desire. So resonance leading to shared desire. I'm not your guru. We're going to do it together. Life's work, liberation. Find and that just mine. Find and stop seeking answers to life's questions and have fun being who you are as you find your market and people. Get to arrival, not trying or figuring it out. We already know all the secrets to the universe and life. They've been written down for thousands of years. We don't have to seek any answers. We just have to have fun being ourselves in the market, allowing ourselves to deal with the feelings of that and being supported by a group of people that allows you to do it and gives you the space to be able to find your own way forward with support. All right. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about where this came from. So I don't live in fear of not having enough money or running out of money. But I can run out of money, and I don't have the cushy padding that I've had at certain moments in my life. I mean, I still have some pretty deep IRA kind of savings and a lot of equity in a house, but I like to live in the house. And it's been made clear to me we're not selling this house, because I did that once before because of another entrepreneur experiment where I changed everything. And we had to downsize the lifestyle. You know, I'm now going from a house in the city of Chicago to a 3-bedroom condo, 2,000 square foot 3-bedroom condo in a nice neighborhood is not exactly suffering. So I'm not a rags to riches story, but I'm a story of inner pain and at the deepest levels, the levels of I don't even want to live. I've had that, and I'm not using that as an attractive character story. I'm sharing it because it's important you understand that whatever your story is, it's real. So my feeling of I can't do business. I don't want to be a lead generator anymore. I don't want to do sales. I don't want this entrepreneur lifestyle. Was not really true. It was a lie. But the friction I created of not realizing that this is part of my story leading towards this destiny of where I am now it's incredible. And I'm like, I put the parking brake on. So I drove around with a parking brake on. Really, that's what it's like. And, you know, this is what a lot of these people are teaching. They're teaching, just keep running forward. And I'm like, with a parking brake on? What's the parking brake? It's the mind is doing all kinds of things. And this is why on the campus, we constructed a product together. So my role, I own it. It's my company, but I'm a steward of it. It's like creating a lineage and being a steward of the lineage so stuff gets done right. Not because it's my way, but because it's what's necessary to support the purpose, the vision, and the mission of it, which is to bring people together who can be originals as entrepreneurs. And instead of being bound into this friction by themselves, or being in mastermind groups or networking groups of people who are projecting their beliefs onto them, giving them advice constantly, and trying to sell them too, which is the other thing that happens. You're vulnerable in one of these business groups. Sometimes somebody starts pitching you very subtly because they want to meet later. They're like, oh, I can help you with that. Well, they're trying to sell you something. And I don't say don't sell. I say share your experience and set an intent to selfishly serve the world by being visible as you are, bringing the purpose out in a way where other people can make a decision, having a way people can engage with you, and constructing experiences they can work through that includes paying you. If you want to make a ton of money and have an airplane, you should do that because it feels right, not because you need that to show yourself that you made your dad proud, or you lived up to your, immigrant heritage as the. So Gary Vee doesn't have that. I feel it with him and his dad. I work for my dad too, but I built up that business for my dad. And it's a little different than Gary's story, but I got really emotional when he was doing these interviews with his dad because it reminded me of what we did together. Because he had the financial understanding, the small sort of shopkeeper mentality of practical wisdom, of just this feeling of nobody's telling me what to do. I'm gonna have my own business. That was my dad. It was like all he cared about is take care of my family. Nobody can tell me what to do. He really wanted two things: take care of my family. Nobody can tell me what to do, and I get to read books. He was he had a used bookstore in his house. It's like 4,000 books. These are my books. They started out with his books. I brought these books in here. When he got Lewy body dementia, he couldn't read anymore. And I've been trading him out ever since. And before I did this, I stopped reading books. And I was always trying to figure out how to do marketing and sales and social media because I felt like I got to get up on that social media mountain. And I got up early and I studied and I worked and I did the how-to courses, and it's all bullshit. And it is. And what really worked was wisdom, not mine. Wisdom is not ours. Wisdom is received insight and understanding through experience. And this is wisdom. Not all of it. I still got this stuff to remind me. I still got this stuff. I still got the Huckster Factory stuff right here. But I also have real wisdom in here too, and there's a lot of it. I did an article on the Go Giver yesterday, which is misunderstood real wisdom in a lot of ways, because it's not about networking and reciprocity to get money. It's about the group. Pindar had a group for this guy Joe, who was a struggling salesperson. He had a mastermind group. People know what a mastermind group is. It's an energetic mastermind, meaning a group of people who share a common desire. And in this case, it was a bunch of originals, Pindar and his group of people who'd figured themselves out. They realized their purpose in life and they were sharing it with anybody who needed it. Joe, in this case, in the book. And Joe figured it out because he went through the pain of realizing he was being a dumbass. It's really that simple. And that he had a gift and they helped him open it by not telling him what to do. There's not one how-to method in the Go Giver book. And the idea of reciprocity of, he got the big deal at the end magically because he helped people is a bit misunderstood. It's because what he did was he became who he is. He became who he is, and he stopped chasing money. And then the minute he released his fear of not succeeding, and he realized, and this is where I'm at, this is the struggle for me. I have absolutely no proof to offer you that anything I'm talking about is real. None. I haven't for a couple years. So this is Kevin Costner. This is Field of Dreams. I'm living it because I don't have social proof. I don't have an authority persuasion Tony Robbins thing on stage where I can, oh, here's my fifth, I've been doing this stuff my whole life. But this has not financially exploded into the marketplace yet. But I know it will. I also know I can't force it. And I know it's possible that I could run out of money before it's completely realized. That is possible. It seems almost impossible, though. And that's what happens. So you get prosperity. Prosperity is a feeling. I don't have the cushion anymore. I did, but 4 years in, 4 years, I didn't have to do this. I did have to do this, but this was a bad financial decision doing this whole red pill pathway entrepreneur experience thing. I should have stuck with my company if I was playing it safe, but then I'd be stuck in the matrix for the rest of my life. And I didn't want that. So part of being an entrepreneur for you, if you are, is you got to take the risk. It doesn't have to be as big a risk as I took, at 60 years old to really put it all on the line. I live on the razor's edge every day. And it's great because it made me strong. I'm strong. And in martial arts, I've been studying energy martial arts since I was in my 20s. And it's called, in these water methods, Bruce Lee kind of methods, and Qigong and Tai Chi and all these inner Shaolin, Secrets of the Temple methods. It's called you're steel wrapped in cotton. And you can be steel wrapped in cotton, but there's a lot of work involved in that. And that's the work. And I'm not saying you have to go as deep as me, but you do have to do something. And that first thing is you got to pay attention to yourself and not follow social media